So now we're moving on to recipe number 2. Finding my notes here. This is a comforting barley and cabbage stew. So we're actually doing a demo today on cabbage.
Cabbage. Triple cabbage.
Cabbage was the veggie of the
Yes.
day.
The veggie of the day.
I promise no cabbage in the dessert.
So this recipe actually now is showcasing prebiotics. And prebiotics are compounds that actually feed the helpful microbes in our gut. Unlike probiotics, which we're going to be talking in the last segment today, prebiotics are non-living substances. So prebiotics are actually okay if people have a weakened immune system. Prebiotics is something that they can actually still have in their diet. I'll talk a little bit later about one of the cautions for it, though. But for now, we'll just focus on what's in this wonderful dish. So we have 2 types of prebiotics in this dish. I'm looking around to see if we also have onion or garlic around for this dish. Ah, there we go. So the cabbage contains something called inulin, a prebiotic called inulin. So do the garlic and onion. And then the barley is here. It contains a very long name called galacto-oligosaccharides, GOS for short. You don't have to know the names, but you might see them on labels, or you might want to impress your friends at the next party. Each type of prebiotic works differently on a different community of microbes in your gut. And it keeps them healthy. So food for our gut, for us, we don't really digest prebiotics, but it moves its way into that community of bacteria and viruses and fungi that are in there and feeds them, keeps them healthy. Okay, I will turn it over to you to talk more about the stew.
To talk more about cabbage. All right.
Talk more about cabbage.
So, we're making this really nice comforting stew, something that's a little more hearty. That's why the barley is here as well. I think it's a great grain to add substance to your dishes. It has a really nice texture. It's fairly accessible. You can find it in most places. I do have a couple varieties here to show you. Maybe we'll go for number 2.
Number 2.
Just to show you how there are different types. You have your pearled barley. And then there are different, I have like a darker version and an unpearled barley here as well, just to show you some of the different colors of different types. Your pearled barley is going to cook quicker. I know nutritionally there's some differences as well,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
But for cooking, it will cook a little bit faster because it's been polished, essentially, versus your unpearled barley, which would be like your pot barley, or this darker one is just like an heirloom variety, which would take a little bit longer to cook. So, was there a question? No. So the slightly different cook times. There.
The difference, so we'll continue with that. With the polished barley or the pearl barley, it has less fiber. So you're removing the husk or you're removing the germ, so it has less fiber. But if we look at the ingredients in this dish with the cabbage and carrots and turnip, we are getting, what's that?
See, look at you.
Can you imagine if I have to make up for Mandolin? We are getting a lot of fiber with these other ingredients, so it's up to you, whatever you have in your home to go with.
Yeah, absolutely. And in saying that as well, we have a lot of ingredients that we're featuring here for the stew. A stew is a fantastic empty the fridge type of meal. So you don't have to use everything that I have listed here. Use what you enjoy, use what you have. If you have a little bit of cabbage from the first recipe that you want to use up, this is a perfect dish for that. Some carrots, onions, I had some potatoes. These are like as we're easing into winter, colder month vegetables. That's where we're utilizing them here, but it does not have to be exactly this. Okay?
I'm actually smiling because potatoes.
Yes.
Interesting that you have this here too. That has another type of prebiotic. It's resistant starch. And actually, the resistant starch is more available after you cook and cool the potatoes. I know they're going to remain cooked and hot in this, but just a cool thing to know. It's the cooled potato, or the resistant starch you also find in more greenish bananas if you're looking for that.
Interesting. There we go. All right, so we're going to start off with our flavor, and then we'll move on to some of the ingredients. For flavor, aromatics, I'm using garlic and onion. The garlic whole, I'm not going to fuss with this too much. It's just slightly crushed. I'm going to put it into my pot. I have a little bit of olive oil in here. A couple extra sort of flavor boosters, which I want to talk about here. Cabbage soup doesn't sound like the most exciting dish, especially when we're coming off of a kimchi salad that has tons of flavor, there. I want to highlight a couple things that I think work well in soups or stews where you feel like it needs a little bit more flavor. Little cheats that are my favorites. This one, does anyone know what this is? It's not toothpaste. Tomato paste. Yes. Tomato paste. And this one might be a little bit harder to see. I'm testing your vision as well. Mushrooms. These are dried mushrooms, okay? Dried mushrooms. These are shiitakes, but you can find different types of dried mushrooms. Great little pantry staple. Even like a small amount of it adds an incredible depth of flavor to your dishes, especially things like soups and stews that are using like root vegetables that might not be the most flavorful. These go a long way, okay? These are optional. I just wanted to feature them today, but great pantry little items. The tomato paste that comes in a tube, you can keep it in the fridge, and it's very convenient and easy to add as well. So to that garlic, I'm going to add a nice little amount of tomato paste, about a tablespoon or two to that. You don't think of tomato paste as the most exciting ingredient, but it is concentrated glutamate, and sort of that, if you've heard of MSG before, that glutamate that's part of the MSG that's found naturally in a lot of ingredients is very intensified in something like tomato paste. So it really adds this incredible depth of flavor. I'm going to throw in a few of these dried mushrooms as well. And I also have some herbs here, just a little bit of rosemary, which on its own can be pretty intense, but again, in a stew that's cooking a little bit longer, or a soup that's cooking a little bit longer, I think it works really, really well. So,
before you put the tomato paste away, the other thing about it is sometimes we talk about phytonutrients, which are the nutrients you find in plants, and the cool thing about them is they're connected to color. So the red color is connected to lycopene. So lycopene is an antioxidant, phytonutrient. And the cool thing about it is that it's found in red fruits and vegetables. But the research has found that usually are more concentrated. When it's processed a little bit, you get more of the lycopene. So it kind of takes us away from having everything unprocessed. Sometimes a little bit of processing can make a nutrient more available. And then adding it to the fat, because there's a little bit of olive oil in there, it helps improve the absorption of lycopene as well.
Yeah, I love it.
There you go.
All right, so I'm going to do a little zoom here. So you can kind of see, what's going on here. Some of that tomato paste is sort of sticking to the bottom right here, which is good. We want that. We want that what we call fond. Everyone's into cooking videos now, so I'm sure more people are aware of what that means, but that is essentially flavor that is sticking to the bottom. This caramelization from the natural sugars in your ingredients that is sticking to the bottom of the pan. Once I start to see that, then I can go ahead and add my barley. I'm adding it now because I want to actually toast it a little bit. Yeah, we don't think of like our grains as something that we want to like toast in advance. We think of spices that we want to toast in advance to bring us some of those flavors and those aromas. With grains, you can do the same thing, and it really does add a little bit more depth. I keep saying depth of flavor. I don't want to cheat by always saying depth of flavor, but it does add a really, really nice amount of like that toastiness that you will taste in the end dish. So a minute or so. It doesn't take long. Then we can go ahead and add some of our other root vegetables, a little bit of onion in there, potato, carrots, turnips. We don't use enough turnips.
This is what is it, a PSA for turnips?
Yeah, PSA for turnips and mandolins today. Don't use mandolins for safety love, and eat more turnips. Use more turnips. Okay, the color is amazing. I love the purple. Really nice texture, and I don't know what we do with all the turnips because I don't see people buying them, but I see them at the grocery store. So eat more turnip. That's all going.
If you use turnips, let us know. People online.
Yeah.
Or
What do you do with
here in the audience? Do you use turnips? Are you using turnips? Okay. Are we all buying turnips this week?
Yeah, all buying turnips. All right. So any of your harder root vegetables, whatever that may be, squash, rutabaga, parsnips. What are some of our favorites here? Do we have a favorite root vegetable? Someone says turnips, my head's gonna pop. What's our favorite?
I love rutabaga.
Rutabaga is a nice one.
Rutabaga.
Yeah, rutabaga would work really well here.
Canada.
It doesn't.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah.
It falls in the same category.
It's another underappreciated.
Yeah. What else? What else are some of our favorite roots?
Well, potato.
Potatoes. Yeah. Potatoes got a lot of love. No need for a PSA on potatoes.
Yeah.
All right. Favorite roots. Throw it in. We have this really nice little melody. Colors here. Sizzling, toasting. And then that fond that I mentioned, those little caramelized bits that are sticking on the bottom, what's going to help to release that is moisture. The vegetables will start to do that because the onions are going to, some of the water is going to draw out of there. Not so much the root vegetables, but this is when we'll add our liquid. If you want stock, if you have a veg stock, chicken stock, go for it. Beautiful. I don't. I'm using water. My dried mushrooms and my tomato paste are going to build a stock for me. Okay, so this is a nice way to also add extra flavor if I don't have a stock. Use those little hacks. Miso paste is another one too, which works really well. Okay. So and as I add my liquid, we'll sort of scrape those little bits that are stuck to the bottom.
Which is called the fond. No?
Yeah.
I was going to ask the class.
The way you said it though is so
Tentative?
Yeah, it's so nice.
Yes,
No, it
tentative. Yeah.
was confident. All right. Liquid in 4 to 6 cups, depending on how much veg you have. Bring that up to a boil, and then we can just reduce the heat to medium, let it kind of chill out, simmer. 20 minutes until those roots start to soften a bit. Your barley is going to probably take the longest, depending on what it is. Again, if it's pot or pearl barley, just cook it a little bit longer if you need to until it's tender. The cabbage, I like to add maybe the last 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, because I don't want to overcook it. And cabbage, again, completely up to you. I have a few different varieties here. Kale, it's part of the same family, so we can use that. Napa cabbage, which is your kimchi in the first recipe. Yeah, we're using Napa
People are
cabbage.
listening.
Yeah.
Yes. The audience knew that the Napa cabbage was what was used in the kimchi.
Kimchi,
Yeah.
yes. Or the purple cabbage that I had in the first recipe too. Either will work. It's delicious. Okay, so add it in about the last 10 to 15 minutes. And then we can finish at the end
Do you want me
with
to come
something
back?
fresh. I'm going to come back to you. I'll
Okay.
come back to you. We have our giant
Looks
pot
good. Oh my.
over here.
The prepped one.
Prep one with deep cooked.
Sorry guys, I know I'm looking in and getting a preview of it, but you see it soon. Can you smell it already when you lifted the lid? Yeah.
All right, so you can kind of see here what we have. Just like this incredible melody of the potatoes and the barley and the cabbage, like comfort food for sure. This is something that
Great for cold weather, probably.
cold
too.
weather, it will definitely satiate you.
I don't know why I'm thinking like going skating and then coming home and having a bowl of this.
Oh yeah, skating. All right. And the last thing, what I would do, and I always do this with soups and stews, is something acidic really, really goes a long way. So even a little splash. We always think of like lemon juice, but even a little splash of vinegar. So I put a little splash of like red wine vinegar or like a cider vinegar in here. You don't need much, but it really, really helps to balance up that like long cooking depth of flavor with something fresh and bright. And then add a little bit of chopped parsley, which is always nice, on top.
May I come down?
You may.
And
is
Our second recipe.
our second recipe, which is
Awesome.
our comforting barley cabbage.
Stew.
Yeah.
Before we leave, I'm just going to do, I guess, a PSA on prebiotics. So, people who have irritable bowel syndrome, not inflammatory bowel syndrome, but irritable bowel syndrome, they may have been told to follow a diet that's lower in something called FODMAPs. I'm just curious if any people know. Okay. I always forget what the whole thing is, but it's really a type of different types of sugar components. So like there's fructose, oligo, disaccharide, and I forget mono, and so I forget all of it. But the galactosaccharides, a lot of the oligosaccharides that are in prebiotics are also what you need to avoid if you have to follow a FODMAP diet. So if you're on that, you know you're on it because you remember that term. Maybe beware and cautious about introducing these foods and discuss it with your healthcare team before doing that. Otherwise, for the rest of us, not a problem. Just introduce it slowly because your GI tract does have to get used to having the prebiotics. And I guess that's it.